Welcome back to Daytime Ottawa. Oh boy, we are in for a treat because I have him for not one, but two segments. Bill Welychka joining us here on the show, broadcaster and author of his brand new autobiography called A Happy Has-Been. Welcome. Great to have you here, Bill.
Good to see you again, Derek.
Good to see you too, man.
It's been way too long.
Yeah, it's been, I don't think we've seen each other for, I don't know, 7, 8 years somewhere, maybe even longer. Actually,
I want to say 12.
Longer than that, yeah.
12 years maybe?
Because you left for Kingston when?
I don't want to talk about how, but I've been in Kingston for about...
Isn't the how in the book?
Yes. A little bit of it. It gets talked about.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to leave Ottawa. I really didn't. I love Ottawa. But I've been in Kingston for around 11 years now. At a Course Entertainment property there. Loving it. Yeah,
I mean... I have always followed your career, and since the beginning, I mean, Danielle and I talking about the fact, you know, we were watching you on Much Music.
I used to watch Much Music too when I was in high school.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But before we get to that, Bill, so what was the beginning of your broadcasting career? Where was the start for you?
The week I graduated from college, and Seneca College was a radio and television program. The week I graduated from that, I got hired at Much as an editor.
Okay.
I loved editing and then eventual producing. I sort of fell into the on-air thing, but all the while still in an edit bay. To this day, I love editing and I love producing. The on-air stuff is a bonus,
right?
More or less. But yeah, I love all aspects of television, and
so
I've always done all aspects.
Did they approach you then and say, "Hey, Bill, you know what? We love your personality. Want to give you a shot on air"? How did that happen?
No, not really. Part of my job at Much was to dub all the new videos that were coming into the building from the record companies.
Okay.
They were on 1-inch reels, 1-inch video reels. So I would dub to a Betacam tape, and that would go into the library. We'd have our own copy of these music videos, and all these country music videos were coming in, and I became a country fan in college, big country fan. And I just thought, we're getting in all these amazing videos, Garth Brooks and Alan Jackson, like everyone. A lot of Canadian stars were breaking through. We're not playing them. I submitted a proposal for a country show to John Martin, who's no longer with us, brilliant, brilliant man, and one ended up going on the air. Outlaws and Heroes, Canada's first country music program.
I remember, yeah.
And it was hosted by Denise Donlan. She went away on mat leave, and then the producers asked me to take care of the show while she was gone as a host. Okay. And then when she came back, we co-hosted. That was not a very long time. And then she became the director of music programming, so I hosted that show on my own, and then when they canceled the country show, they moved me over to regular flow programming, and that would have been in '94. And scared to death. I thought, who's going to believe me that I can throw to Oasis videos and Green Day videos when I was just throwing to Garth Brooks videos last week? Right. It was an easy transition. People,
I mean, extraordinary times too, right? Because everything was so new and music and music videos. I mean, if you didn't have a music video, you weren't on the map at all, right? As an artist, what was it like behind the scenes? Like, what was that dynamic like? Because it was so new, and you know, you're all young, and all of these big stars are coming through your doors.
We got compared to MTV a lot, which was the only other game in town to the south.
Yeah,
we were very different. We didn't wait for a song to be a hit to play the video. We broke a lot of bands just by it being a great video. So yeah, we didn't abide by a lot of rules. No one was a polished broadcaster. Right. I think I was the only one that ever did any schooling, and that I went to a radio and television college. I think I was the only one. We all developed our own personalities. There wasn't a lot of do this, do that.
Right.
Basically go on the air and interview Weezer for 20 minutes live.
I'm just looking at, is this, what date is this one here?
Oh, that would have been '94.
Okay.
When they first moved me over to the regular
Well, and then you're a national personality, right? All of a sudden you're thrust into this national spotlight. What was that like?
Yeah, go figure. I watched some of those old country music shows, the Outlaws and Heroes, and I thought, why did they keep me on the air? Oh my God.
Yeah,
it was
but
great.
We're all our own worst critics, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, viewers loved you. The management loved you.
Well, one of the beautiful things about Much as well is the ability to travel. Like it got to the point where I was in LA or New York every second weekend, or Switzerland or England, or just so many countries. It was and I never take it for granted, and I am always grateful that I had this amazing opportunity. But the kick for me was going across Canada and meeting people that watched every day.
Yeah.
And you realize that you, in a strange way, you're in people's lives, and they're welcoming you in. And when they see you in person, it becomes, I don't take away from the fact that they think I'm their friend.
Right.
I think it's a beautiful thing.
And I think everyone has always said that about you.
You've experienced that too,
right?
I'm sure, here.
Oh, sure, yeah. I
walk
just
down the
find,
street,
you
"Hey,
know,
Derek."
while you and I clicked too, you know, and, you know, we've only had brief meetings, is because I think you're such an approachable person. And I think that's what people respected about you, appreciated about you. And I'm not just talking about the fans. I think the bands felt the same way as well. I mean, look at Langlois. Wrote the preface in your book, From the Tragically Hip. How special was that?
It was amazing. I'm a Tragically Hip fan first and foremost. I've been interviewing the guys since 1995, all of them. And I've solidified relationships with all the members over the years. But moving to Kingston, those friendships grew even more. Yeah. Not just with the guys, but with their families. I became close with Mike Downey, Gord's brother. In the past several years, and Paul, I've always loved Paul. They're all beautiful human beings. Yeah. They're all very gracious with their time and very charitable. That we don't hear half the things they do for charity. I emailed Paul one day. I go, I'm writing this book. Do you mind doing the foreword? I thought he'd be like, I'm very busy, but no. He says, okay, give me a week or so. This was in January. I think in February, I got an email from the publisher that they had to, they wanted the book. Right. It was going to go to print. So I emailed Paul and I go, yeah, a bit of a rush job on. I need that forward this week. He goes, I'm in Costa Rica with Joanne, his wife. He goes, give me a couple days, okay? 2 days later, I got this email, and it was the forward for the book, and I cried when I read it.
I'm not surprised.
Just beautiful words.
Was it ever?
And
was it ever?
I just this mental picture of him on a beach in Costa Rica when he could be relaxing with his laptop and a beer,
away.
Maybe a smoke, banging on it. Joanne, I'll be with you in a second.
I got to do this for Bill. Hey, you're going to stick around because we got lots more to talk about. Talk about some highlights and the documentary that's out as well. We'll be back with Bill right after this. Welcome back. Back with Bill Welychka talking about, so many great stories he has to share. And of course, his brand new book called A Happy Has-Been. Wanted to start with the documentary, 299 Queen Street West. Before we dive into it, we'll just give people a little sample of that documentary. Let's roll that, Dave.
There weren't any studios. You did the shows inside of the workspace.
I realized at the beginning there was nothing that we wouldn't do or play.
There was no script, there was no direction, there was nothing like this in the world.
The very first time I walked into the building, it hit me like, I need to be here.
I was this kid who was this huge fan. Now I'm here. Now I'm a part of it. It's just, I'm talking about it right now gives me goosebumps.
It was live TV, and as soon as that shot was over, he was halfway to Mars.
You could never be so far removed from the audience because they were right there looking at you.
Pretty special, Bill. Pretty special. What role did you play in this documentary?
About 2 years ago, I got asked to be interviewed for it by the director, Sean Menard. He was telling me about it. And I thought, cool. I'd love to be involved if you want to do an interview. And it's weird to look back too much. I think it's okay for nostalgic purposes. I was writing the book at this point, so like all of my past was always being talked about and people wanting to know about my past.
Right.
It was all of a sudden, it was weird. And I only wrote the book because I've been asked about it for years. Are you going to write a book? Are you going to write a book? And then I started writing one day on the weekend, and it just took about 1.5 years to write. At the same time, this documentary interview was happening. And then I sort of forgot about it until I started getting emails from Sean Menard, the director, and saying, Yeah, it's going to be premiering at the South by Southwest Film Festival in the U.S. and then a Toronto premiere. Can you make it to the Toronto premiere? And I said, sure. He lined up some interviews for me for the doc, and they're saying, so, in all these interviews, what do you think of the film? I'm like, I haven't seen it. They go, well, are you in it? I better be. I was interviewed for an hour and a half. Anyway, the premiere was 2 weeks ago in Toronto. It's going to tour Canada, and there's going to be little Q&As with some of the VJs after.
Right.
I'll be back here in Ottawa for that, October 28th, for the Much Music doc. Yeah. It's going to be fun. And yeah, so life's been very busy. I have a full-time job still, but I don't mind talking about the past as long as people are interested.
Well, and they are. I mean, obviously, people have been bugging you for years about the idea of doing a book, and it's been toiling away in your own mind. The title, right? People probably look at the title and go, "A happy has-been." Why a has-been? I mean, you're not a has-been. You're still doing it.
Some I am though. There are people. I started off on this national level in Toronto, this major market. I've worked solidly for 35 years. There's that 1 year I couldn't work. We won't talk about that.
Okay.
I've been between Ottawa and Kingston, but I've never left television. It's all I've ever done. It's all I've ever known. But my career sort of, the major level, working my way down to a smaller market, to a smaller audience. And it was here in Ottawa where I realized, okay, the size of the audience doesn't matter. It's connecting with that audience that is the most important thing, and representing the station to these people.
Right.
But there are some people that only know me from a national level. And if they've heard the name Bill Welychka recently, I'm sure their reaction would be, oh yeah, I think I remember that guy. That's the guy with the long curly hair. Is he dead? Where is he? Oh, he's still working? What a has-been. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the important part of the title for me, and it's self-deprecating, and I'm aware of that, and that's fine. I like that. The best part for me is the word happy that's involved in the title, because I am the happiest now than I've been in years and years and years. So,
really, eh?
It brings it up to date, and it also looks back at the past a little bit. And I didn't want the book to be like the ramblings of some old guy saying, let me tell you about the time I interviewed Madonna or David Bowie. It's more to it than that.
But you did. You did have the opportunity to interview some of the the biggest stars, not some of the biggest stars in the world. Was there any because it's easy to talk about stars, but was there anyone that sort of came in sort of under the radar that a lot of Canadians perhaps, didn't know necessarily much about them, that you interviewed and you said to yourself, wow, not only do I like this music, I like this person, like one of those
Quite
gems?
a few times.
Yeah, I imagine.
The book talks, I talk a lot about perfect circles in the book, and that is, being a fan of someone when I was a kid, or I had their patch on my jean jacket in high school with pictures in my locker in high school, and then years later, interviewing them or traveling with them and bonding with them. So there's a lot of perfect circles in the book that way. But yeah, sometimes, and our culture is different now with entertainment, is that you get maybe 10 minutes with someone in 7 minutes with someone for a junket. You don't really get a chance to spend quality time with them in that way. Much Music was about, spending time with someone, and sometimes for an hour and a half, sometimes if I'm taping a special, a whole day with them or whatever, and then you really get to know them. And Garth Brooks, I knew Garth was a special person, but interviewing him and then spending time with him outside of a TV environment, just one of the most sweetest guys in the whole world. The Tragically Hip are like that too. Just, we get little glimpses of them, especially during that final 2016 tour. Little glimpses of them here and there in press conferences or whatever. But as human beings, beautiful, beautiful people, and what a blessing for me.
Yeah, to get to know somebody on that level. Quickly, I got 60 seconds left. There's also a film about yourself, right, in production. Am I right?
Yeah, a Kingston filmmaker loved the idea of this once important media figure moving to a small town and trying to recapture his youth. So he created this, stars me as myself in this fictitious parallel universe.
Okay.
In Kingston, where I'm actually interviewing bands, real bands. And so the movie the thread is live music and live bands, and I'm interviewing. The story is me trying to get back to Toronto. In the end, I love Kingston and I stay there. Nice. And we've already shot some scenes for it.
Where can people pick up a copy of the book? Available everywhere?
BillWelychka.ca at all bookstores. I'll be here at Chapters at the Indigo in Gloucester this Saturday.
That's right, this Saturday, 4 p.m. Also,
12 to 4,
what's that?
12 to 4.
12 to 4, I'm sorry. Also, the documentary at the Bytown, Saturday, October 28th. That's at 7:30 p.m. We'll be back with more after this.
Thank you so much.
Hey,